Coming to you live from Finnie Stadium on the campus of Baldwin Wallace University. Welcome inside our final regular season coverage of the Yellow Jackets women's soccer team. Baldwin Wallace hosting the Otterbein Cardinals today in a must-win game for both schools. Alongside Juliana Rubin, I'm Brendan Gulick. This is kind of what it comes down to. You're toward the end of the season. The Yellow Jackets will finish the year with back-to-back road games next week against Ohio Northern and Capital, who coincidentally are the top two teams in the conference, and the Yellow Jackets right now are in a situation where they control their own destiny, but they have to win if they're going to get in the OAC tournament.
Absolutely. The Yellow Jackets have a couple of tough games coming up, and no doubt this game will be tough as well. They definitely have to get a win today, and they have to win next week. And like you said, they control their own destiny. It's up to them whether or not they get that result on the field and whether or not they're going to go into OAC playoffs.
It's going to be an interesting game because the Otterbein Cardinals are very much in the same boat. They right now are, the Yellow Jackets do not own any of the tiebreakers with the Blue Streaks or Purple Raiders, so they really feel like they have to win in order to get in the OAC tournament. You're seeing here live with us a nice ceremony pregame. Lauren Hainham, Courtney Schutz, Jenny Burdick, Alex Elliott, Anna Poptic, Corey Miller, and Jacqueline Brown, the 7 members of this year's senior class. It's a special group, and Jim Whitekin knows that he's really appreciated the work that they've put in. Thought it was pretty cool that along with Anna Poptic coming out on the field, her younger sister has joined her at midfield along with her mom and dad. Pretty neat. We're going to step aside here for just a quick moment because we had a chance to visit with Jim Whitekin before the game, and we'd like to share those thoughts with you. So without any further ado, here is Jim Whitekin. Pre-game coverage of the Yellow Jackets continues on Senior Day. It's a beautiful afternoon, and Baldwin Wallace playing in their final home game of the regular season. We're here with head coach Jim Whitekin, and Jim, I know it's been at times a challenging season. At times it's been sort of a fulfilling year. It's been kind of that roller coaster, right? You almost experience it on a year-in, year-out basis where you have your ups, you have your downs, but here we are, final home game of the regular season. I want to start by talking about the senior class before we dive into Otterbein, because you've got 7 young ladies on this team who are playing in their final game at home, potentially, certainly in the regular season. Lauren Hainham, Courtney Schutz, Jenny Burdick, Alex Elliott will be on the sideline tonight, Anna Poptic, Corey Miller, and Jacqueline Brown. When I say those 7 names to you, what comes to mind?
A lot of emotion. I think they're a great group. I think they're one of the groups that stayed together over 4 years, and it's bittersweet to see them have to call it a career here at home. Again, we still have a chance to get a tournament game here, but they're a great group of young women. They've given heart and soul to the program. They've never stepped away from a challenge. Really a fun group to be around, but more importantly, I recognize that they're going to be a great group of individuals as they go forward. They're going to make a contribution in this world.
Well, it's been fun to watch them play on the field and see their life off the field. They certainly seem to have that kind of spark about them, so I can see why you'd say that. As you look at the way the schedule is structured, right, you've got 3 games left, and they happen to be against teams that right now are all in playoff position. You've got Otterbein today, who, if the playoffs started this weekend, they would be the number 6 seed. And then you've got Ohio Northern and Capital, who right now are in the top 2 spots. So you've got teams that are right there in the standings you're competing against. Isn't that kind of what you hope for at the end of the year, to compete against the teams that you might see?
Well, for us, it's great to have our future in our own hands. We have to dictate what we do on the field. That's nice, not to worry about anybody else, just to worry about ourselves. But it also speaks to the depth of the OAC to think that this group this year of teams in the OAC are so competitive that on any given day we're going to have a great battle. It makes it fun to coach. It makes it more especially fun for the players to play in that environment. They know that every game represents a challenge. They have to rise to it. Every day creates an opportunity for moments of greatness. I hope they can seize them. So it's fun to be in that situation with them who are willing to embrace that challenge.
You're coming off a nice win against Heidelberg. You had a good cushion late, gave up a goal in the 81st minute, but hung on. And it was a road win and certainly one that this team really, really needed. What was the emotion like after the game and on the bus ride back?
I think immediately after the game you had a sense of relief because we survived a late side onslaught. Hard to give up a PK in the 82nd minute. It just shows a bit of fatigue and a bit of lack of understanding of where we might be on the field. but then to galvanize ourselves and steel ourselves for the last 10 minutes and defend very, very well and still have a chance. I mean, after the PK, we went down 13 seconds later and we scored a goal. Unfortunately, it was called offsides. Film is not truly definitive of what happened, but because of the angle. But you trust what happens on the field and realize that we were able to score. So I wasn't really worried about what the future would hold, because I think if we had to score another goal, we could have. But sense of relief, and then the whole ride back, you got a sense of what's next. The team was ready. They were lucky to be in a situation where they can see what the future holds in store for them, and they were willing to embrace that challenge. So that was what fun to see, is they weren't shying away from the next challenge.
You've got an Otterbein team coming today that has had a good year. They did not lose a non-conference game, and their losses in conference, arguably to the two best teams in Ohio Northern and Capital, and they had a small setback against Heidelberg, who you just saw. And maybe the strength of their team is that both of their goalkeepers have only given up 6 goals apiece this year. They are tied for first in the league in terms of goals against. They're tough to score on. How have you tried to game plan around the ability of knowing this could be a low-scoring game?
Well, it's interesting because, you got to check your back line, and with us having a bit of a glitch, having to lose a few players to injury, it means we're trying to work hard on tightening what happens, keeping the game in front of our back line, making sure Emma steps up big in the goal, because she'll have to have a big game for that. But at the same time, we can't step the way we play, and we're an attacking team, and we like to get forward. So we'll need to put them under pressure. Let's see if we can challenge our keepers in a way that they haven't been challenged before. We're not afraid to take shots, and you know what? If we can get in behind and force the keepers to have to make saves that they normally don't make, I think we'll be in good shape.
Bella Shively, individually for Otterbein, probably their best offensive weapon. 7 goals on the year, 6 assists, and she seems to just kind of be around the action all the time. Is there something special that you like about her?
Bella's a great player. Understand that she might have had an injury. She might or not play against us. But she's one of those poachers that finds the goal in dangerous times and dangerous spots. So what we need to do is we need to find a way to neutralize that kind of opportunity. We need to make sure that we neutralize their movement off the ball, and when they move into dangerous spaces, what they do is they look for players to watch the ball, and they slide in behind. So we've got to make sure from a defensive standpoint we know where our players are at all times.
Well, we certainly hope this isn't the last time we visit with you pregame here at home, but good luck and look forward to the game.
Appreciate it, Brendan. Thank you very much.
All right. More when we come back on BWYellowJackets.com. All right, the starting lineups are being introduced on the field at the moment, and what I think is one of the coolest things that the Yellow Jackets have done lately, and it's just, in my opinion, typical Jim Woitkin. He exudes class all the time, and Jim has put Alex Elliott in the starting lineup tonight just to kind of have her out there at the beginning of the game. Alex, a young lady that has worked her butt off, and she's been such an integral part of the Yellow Jackets' success the last couple of years, and even though she suffered a season-ending knee injury, she's going to be able to take the field for basically the opportunity to go out there one more time and put the uniform on, and she'll be subbed off basically immediately. But I think it's really cool that she's out there at the start.
I would agree. It's definitely bittersweet for all of them, but I think for Alex Elliott, it's something hard to understand. She's never going to get that chance to go back out on the field and compete, not just at home, but moving forward with that ACL injury. Like you said, career ending. So for her to be able to go out on the field and, just finish on the field and be subbed off, I'm sure that she'll have a standing ovation, no doubt. And hopefully she can enjoy her last moments on the field.
It's an Otterbein team, too, that comes in awfully hungry. They've got one of the veteran coaches in the league with Brandon Coons in his 19th season leading this program. And, whether or not they've been a conference champion, in my opinion, isn't so much the point of it. It's the fact that Otterbein just seems to kind of be around. They hang around, and they, they're always part of the conversation, really in most programs. But women's soccer team hasn't been too bad over the years.
No, most definitely not. Otterbein is always in the conversation. A few years ago, the Yellow Jackets played Otterbein in, I believe it was the semifinals in the OAC playoffs to make it to the championship, in which, unfortunately, the Yellow Jackets lost to Capital. But Otterbein's always in the mix, always a team that they need to do well against.
We'll pause for just a moment while the national anthem is played in the stadium, and then we'll get you underway here at Finnie Stadium.
And welcome to Otterbein here at George Finnie Stadium as the Yellow Jackets take them on in what is their last regular season home game. It's senior day as well. I'm Juliana Rubin alongside Brendan Gulick. And we will get you the starting lineups for both teams in a minute. But Brendan, what are you looking forward to for the Yellow Jackets on a day like this?
I'm hoping to see some levity. You know, I think this team lately has kind of felt the frustration of the way this season has fallen apart a little bit on them with several injuries that honestly there's not much they can do about. You know, it's just part of the game. And so I'm hoping that they'll come out today and kind of just relax and play loose. The fact of the matter is it's October 21st and it's 72 degrees and absolutely gorgeous. This is the kind of thing you just draw up in your head about what you'd like senior day to look like. I hope the seniors go out and have fun today, and I think they're going to definitely give it a solid effort. You know, what happens with the result, who knows? I think you can always count on this team to never quit, but I expect to see a lot of smiles today, actually.
Absolutely, and all 7 seniors are in the starting lineup for the Yellow Jackets, and we'll give you that lineup here from left to right in the back. It's Lauren Hainum, Jenny Burdick, Josie Fenn, and Corey Miller with Emma Bruno in goal. It's Alex Elliott starting in the midfield, but like we said, she has that ACL injury, so fortunately, she'll be able to finish on the field, but she'll be soon subbed out by the freshman Kayla Webb. Kenna Stone's in the middle with her, Anna Poptic, and up top we have Jacqueline Brown, Courtney Schutz, and Rachel Bender. For the Otterbein Cardinals, we have in their back, we're going to have Holly Bernhold, number 2, Katie Best, Alyssa Spencer, Cassidy Nicole. In their midfield looks like Sydney Young, Haley Guerra, Regina Sovereigns, Isabel Sentel, up top Priscilla Severance, and we'll get that tactical for you in just a moment. The Yellow Jacket bench is already exuberant as Alex Elliott is going to touch the ball, play it off to the Cardinals, who will play it out of bounds as Alex Elliott takes her final steps off the field here at George Finnie.
Very cool show of sportsmanship for Otterbein, recognizing what it's all about. Alex Elliott, obviously, look, she's not just another senior. She's a big difference maker for BW. And Brandon Coons, in a classy way, goes over and shakes her hand, and now Alex will walk down the line and hug all of her teammates. She had a chance to kind of have her moment, and that's something that she'll always remember. So, cool moment for her and for her family, and now we can get on with the game.
Absolutely. And it looks like the Otterbein Cardinals are playing 4 across the back with 3 in the midfield and 3 up top, as that ball is knocked out of bounds by Jenny Burdick for a Cardinals throw-in. We listened to Coach Whitekin's pregame talk earlier. What did you take away from that? What do you think are going to be the significant goals for the Yellow Jackets to succeed today?
Well, I think there's a couple of things. I mean, first and foremost, they need to learn to just put the things that have happened this season behind them. And the fact is they've been dealt a tough deck of cards. I mean, look, Morgan Gray's played so well this year when she's come in defensively. Not sure if she's available today, but she's nursing a sprained wrist. Bree Osborne's been a staple at center back for you. She'll miss the rest of the season with an ankle injury. And those 2 players went out against Heidelberg. Then, of course, what they've kind of had to do to rebuild the midfield. So I think the thing I take away from it is just that, you know, Rachel Bender has a lot on her shoulders, but everybody kind of knows that. And so this offense for BW can't really be a one-trick pony. Somebody other than Rachel is going to probably have to start pouring in some goals. And late in the season, that's a tall order, but I think this team takes on the mentality of their head coach, and Jim's a pretty level-headed guy, and so I think there's reason to be hopeful.
I would agree. I think that the Yellow Jacket team understands that, yes, Rachel is a force to be reckoned with up top, but they understand that it is a team sport, and they need to be able to help her out when needed, especially when teams know that Rachel is their leading goal scorer. With 16 goals on the season so far, I'm sure we'll see many more from her to come. in over the next 3 games. As Otterbein goes down the field in their offensive third. Neither Haley Guerrera or Priscilla Severance was able to get behind that one that was placed almost right in front of Emma Bruno. It looks like that one is called back for a throw-in that Corey Miller will take. Kenna Stones with ball at her feet, trying to find Rachel Bender. Unfortunately, got knocked away by Cardinals left back, Holly Bernhold. We're about 5 minutes into the game here at George Finnie Stadium with a score of 0-0. Both teams are going to have a tough game ahead of them. I think we talked about the Cardinals' defense and how difficult it's going to be for the Yellow Jackets to get in and behind them. They've had excellent goalkeeping over the past few games.
And the Yellow Jackets, I think in the beginning, part of it is just trying to get, some passes that you can connect, get your feet underneath you, and try to find something you can start feeling good about. You never want to feel like you're chasing the game right from the outset. And so a little bit of a feeling out process in the beginning is not really a bad thing in my opinion.
Isabel Sentel and Haley Hott playing with it, but couldn't quite control it to get a shot off, as ball is played up to Courtney Schutz. Definitely a little bit of a different lineup for the Yellow Jackets, having started all 7 seniors. Obviously, that's special to them, but I'm sure that it might take a couple minutes for them to string together some passes. Like we said, they're not used to playing together, especially not against a tough opponent like the Cardinals. But it looks like they might have a chance here as Kayla Webb chases one down on the left corner. Haynham looks for Bender, but it was knocked away by Regina Severance. Kayla Webb couldn't quite control that one, and it looks like Hott is up the field, 3v3, as Webb chases back. Hott with a shot, but not much behind it, just wide and scooped up by Bruno.
Yeah, she lost her footing a little bit. I think she may have actually kicked the turf before the ball, and it resulted in her just not getting anything on that one at all.
Coach Whitekin talked about it earlier, that Emma Bruno is going to have to come up with some big saves today, but not just today, moving forward, as they have Ohio Northern and Capital, their next 2 road games after today. So what do you think Emma Bruno is going to have to do to get herself in that right state of mind?
Well, hard to tell for sure. I mean, hopefully she's not tested too much early in the game so that she can feel like she's not on her heels right away. I mean, I haven't played a lot of goalkeeper in my life, so hard for me to know for sure exactly how she's feeling. But, her communication with the back line is one of her strong suits. And if the Yellow Jackets can score an early goal, I'm sure she'll take a deeper breath.
Jacqueline Brown tried to get that one across there. None of the Yellow Jackets could quite get their touch on it. I think both teams have had pretty good looks so far. Not many shots off, but definitely getting crosses and playing in each of their offensive thirds. Freshman Josie Fenn chases that one down and plays it back to Bruno.
Yeah, Fenn's the only one in the back line as a starter that's a little different. Corey Miller usually starting up front, but she frequently will move back as the game goes on. So putting her at left back is not a real big difference maker. But Fenn is the one that's starting in place of the injured Bree Osborne, and she overcommits on this one.
That's an unfortunate handball on Jenny Burdick. It looked like the ball just hit her hand.
Yeah, incidental.
Not intentional.
Certainly an illegal touch. So free kick coming for Cassidy Nicole, and this is Otterbein's real first opportunity here to try and put together a set piece and maybe test Bruno a little bit 8 minutes in.
Hope got a header on it, but it didn't really quite go anywhere. As Bruno's going to knock this one upfield. The Cardinals are up again after a few touches in the midfield, and the ball is at the feet of Isabel Sentel as Burdick challenges her. Able to pass it back to one of her teammates. And it'll be a goal kick for Emma Bruno. Neither team really controlling the midfield quite yet. It seems as though they're kind of chasing after the ball, and then when they do get it, they're making an effort forward.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm hoping to see, somebody in the midfield like an Anna Poptic really step forward and try and take command of the game a little bit. Kayla Webb's been pretty active. I like her work rate so far.
Anna Poptic's played just 8 games this season. She's been out with a concussion. She was out of the game last week against Muskingum, so she quite hasn't had as much game time as she typically does. She's one of the main starters, her and Elliott, all 4 years. Courtney Schutz couldn't quite get a touch on it, and the Cardinals pick it up in the midfield. Looks like that's a foul on Courtney Schutz. Cardinals will take just over their half. "35 minutes left here in the first half. Still 0-0. Neither team has had necessarily great looks on goal, but they have had some looks, and they both are trying.
Yeah, technically no shots yet for BW, though they've had possession deep on the offensive end. They haven't been able to square one up. And that's a tall order against an Otterbein team that, quite frankly, is probably the best in the OAC.
Haley Guerrero with the ball at her feet, and she'll take a shot just wide, but causing Emma Bruno to dive. It looks like it will be a goal kick.
That was definitely Guerrero's best look of the afternoon so far. A little high and wide, but I like the idea of her actually taking that shot from a little further out and trying to get something on it. Maybe next time she'll change the tempo up and be a little bit more attacking, but she thought she had a window and let it go. You're a little over 12 minutes into a game. Sometimes you start to extend the chances a little bit.
Definitely a dangerous shot, especially where she was on the field. She was a little far out. Like you said, she just let one go. The Yellow Jacket defense are going to have to step to players like that to keep them from getting shots off. As Miller finds Courtney Schutz. Great cross to Kenna Stones. She's able to control it. Couldn't quite find anyone, though, and the ball is played back into the Yellow Jacket defensive third.
Yeah, and that's a little frustrating because, as you pointed out, the cross from far to near side that came to Kenna Stones, I mean, it really was a perfect pass. You thought that maybe they had something coming together, and now Burdick is kind of on her heels. Then she stabs it away. Great recovery.
Great tackle by Jenny Burdick there. Those are the type of strong plays that the defense is going to have to make if they want to shut down the Cardinals' offense. The Cardinals are missing their leading goal scorer, Bella Shively, who is out for an injury. I'm not sure if she will be available the rest of the season or not, but I do not think we will be seeing her in this game. So the Yellow Jackets and the Cardinals are almost in the same respect, as they're both missing key players.
I don't think you're going to get any sympathy from either one of these two teams. They're playing with basically the same stakes, and they've both been beaten and battered a little bit as this year's gone on. It's just going to come down to who can execute that's actually on the field, as Stones puts together a real creative move.
Bender's calling for it on the far side, but the ball is at the feet of Kayla Webb. She's able to find Bender.
Yeah, and I think one of the things you don't want Bender to start doing is, get into situations where she has to press a little bit.
Good cross by Bender. Unfortunately, it looks like it was called offsides by the AR.
And again, I think Rachel's the kind of player with her mindset, she constantly wants to be involved. She's certainly capable of being one of the top threats across the conference, and her scoring output certainly backs it up, but she just always wants the ball at her feet. She's not just a weapon as a goal scorer with 16 goals. I mean, 8 assists is pretty impressive from someone who puts the ball in the net as often as she does. And so I think maybe she might be feeling a little bit of the weight of, several of her teammates being knocked out, and whether it's consciously or subconsciously. I think the Yellow Jackets would do well to, certainly work her in, but not put her in a situation where she has to do it all herself.
No doubt. I think you said it best. Maybe perhaps subconsciously Bender does feel that pressure. Even if her teammates aren't putting it on her, she knows that she's the leading goal scorer. She knows that other teams know that she's extremely important to this Yellow Jacket team. It looks like Jenny Burdick just tripped Haley Guerra. She'll receive a yellow card for that. First caution of the game. Looks like the kick will be taken by Cassidy Nicole. It's from a pretty far distance out, but a possible distance to get a shot on goal. So we'll see if she cracks one or if she's able to get a cross in. The ball was driven low and hard. Couldn't quite get past the mix in front of the goal.
Well, that's another set piece that Otterbein kind of lets slip through their fingers. They've had 2 opportunities there on free kicks from a ways out. And on the first one, Nicole kind of bluffed, and her teammates started moving, and then she stopped and wasn't committed to where she was sending it, and it turned into nothing. And unfortunately on that one, she just kind of rolled it toward the top of the 18, didn't get anything underneath it. I'm quite sure the Cardinals are looking at those as 2 missed opportunities in an area that they've got to shore up.
In a game like this, you have to finish those set pieces. Set pieces are very important. You don't know how many opportunities you're going to get, and when you're given those, you're essentially given goals if you can finish it. So hopefully the Cardinals don't look back at that and wish that they'd put one in. I'm sure the Yellow Jackets are grateful that she did not get a good look on that, though. A quick throw taken on the far side by the Cardinals. And the Yellow Jacket defense appears to be challenged this game thus far.
Yeah, not only has Otterbein won the possession battle so far, but I think their possessions have come in more frustrating areas for Baldwin Wallace. The back line needs to start solidifying themselves a little bit. Otterbein's working it too deep, too frequently.
As that one is knocked right to Isabella Sentel at the top of the 18.
Yeah, that can't happen.
If she was able to control that and get a crack on goal, that probably would have been a goal.
Jim Woykin sitting over on the bench with his arms folded over his chest and his legs crossed, and I'm sure he's thinking, man, we dodged a bullet there.
Absolutely.
To have a ball deflect to an opponent right in the middle at the top of the 18 with an open shot. Jackets got lucky that that one was kind of struck off the side of her foot.
Rachel Bender has the ball up the field on the far side. She gets a cross off, picked up by Aaron Gordon. And that's, I think, the first time Gordon might have touched the ball this game.
Well, it's definitely Rachel Bender's best effort. And to her credit, you know, she had a teammate waiting in Jacqueline Brown. Maybe that'll get Bender going on the far side.
Going back to the Yellow Jacket defense, I think the defense might be seeing the absence of Bree Osborne as the Cardinals attempt to get a goal here, knocked out of bounds by Lauren Hanum. I think Josie Fenn's a great player. She's definitely stepped up to the plate this season, but she is a freshman. She doesn't have that experience that Bree Osborne has. So perhaps they're a little shaken in the back and they need to just calm down, reorganize, and man mark and make sure that players don't get deflected of the goal. Good tackle by Lauren Hanum.
Yeah, look, you know, no matter who's back there, you're kind of relying on your center backs just to keep alignment correct. And obviously some of that's on your goaltender as well, but you know, you need your center backs to really be on top of everything, not just where they are positionally. You don't want to get burned.
Poptick's able to poke that one to Bender.
Well, it's another good idea, but just a little bit too slow for Jacqueline Brown.
About 20 minutes into the game here, George Finnie Stadium, Yellow Jackets 0, Cardinals 0. I think this will be a low-scoring game. I think Coach Whitekins said it earlier in the game. Both teams have strong defenses. The Yellow Jackets appear to be struggling a little bit, but once they are able to control things, I think that shots will be limited and they will have to capitalize. Both teams will have to capitalize on the opportunities that they are given, which we've yet to see so far.
Time will tell. So it's the best way I can back that up. Some other games going on around the conference. Marietta and Heidelberg tied at 1. They're 20 minutes in. Ohio Northern 20 minutes in as a 2-0 lead over Muskingum, who's having a really tough year. And Wilmington and Mount Union about 20 minutes into their game. They are scoreless. John Carroll hosts Capital at 4 o'clock this afternoon as Emma Bruno corrals this one. Capital and Ohio Northern right now the top two teams in the OAC. And of course those are important spots because they give you a bye into the semifinals, and you'll play a semifinal game at home.
Good idea by Jacqueline Brown. Unfortunately, no one was really there. Looking to play quick, but you can only do that when you have a teammate for you.
And I agree. The execution is it's a good play, but the other side of the argument is that she gave the ball away too easily because no one was there.
Right.
It really wasn't anywhere close to it, so I think you got to be a little more careful with that.
Kayla Webb swings and misses, and the ball was still at the feet of Guerra. Played out of bounds for a goal kick. Boy, Guerra is a force to be reckoned with for the Cardinals right now. I know that we said that Bella Shively is out, but I think that right now the Yellow Jackets really need to contain Guerra in the midfield.
Well, she's certainly not afraid to take her chances. I think that's fair to say. She's not put one home yet. Guerra on the year, only 1 goal and 1 assist, but she's been in most of the games. In fact, I should say she's played every game. She has started most of the games. Ironically, she'd only taken 7 shots on the year entering this afternoon's contest, and I feel like she's taken more than 7 shots already, and that's only slightly sarcastic.
The Cardinals have 4 shots on the books right now that they've called, but I think that they've had a little bit more look, more than that, perhaps just not on goal. Kayla Webb with the ball at her feet. Poked wide. Doesn't look like Courtney Schutz will be able to get there. Miller playing with Otterbein on the ground, and she's won that foul there.
Yeah, it's a dangerous play from the Cardinals.
Yellow Jackets send Lauren Hanum up to take the free kick.
Brandon Coons disagrees, but Lauren Hanum will try BW's first set piece of the afternoon. Can they strike first?
Good ball in. Unfortunately, looks like it went right to the head of Alyssa Spencer. Back down the field as the ball's at Emma Bruno's feet. Emma Bruno definitely involved in the game so far, regardless of how many shots she's seen. I think she's probably touched the ball with her feet just as much as some of the other players on the field.
Probably not how she would have it, but it's out of necessity, not desire. Great footwork by Kenna Stones. See, those are the kinds of things that just make you scratch your head. I mean, Alyssa Spencer's a senior. She's wearing the captain's armband. I understand the idea of trying to press forward, but, I mean, literally nobody was over there at all. And you just give away possession.
In a game like this, understanding the necessity and the importance of having the ball at your feet is definitely important. Playing that ball up like she did was, it took possession away from them at a time when she could have found feet or she could have moved with it. She definitely had time. So I think both teams have made plays like that, and they need to find their mental strength and really think before they hit the ball every time. Lauren Hanum is able to hold off Priscilla Severance. It looks like Otterbein will be making their first substitutions of the game. Looks like entering the game is number 10, Katie Exlin.
Another shot from outside the box. Regina Severance with the right foot, picked up by Bruno.
Also in for the Cardinals is Maya Kelly. In for Haley Hott. And the last one we'll get for you in just a moment. Kenna Stones tries to hit one far out. It was a good power behind it. Unfortunately, it went wide.
Still kind of waiting for that Kenna Stones coming out party.
Yes.
You can tell she's got so much potential. And it's fun to see Jim Whitekin light up. When you ask him about what she's capable of, he goes, I think she has the talent to be an All-American. And he's dead serious. He thinks, I really think, she has the ability to be that kind of a difference maker in the program. It's just a matter of can she go out and do it consistently. And she's had a great freshman year. I think they're hoping for continued growth for her, but boy, they really want to build around her as the offside flag finally got waved.
I agree. I've enjoyed watching Kenna Stones this season thus far, and I think that when you watch her play, she has the confidence of someone who's been playing with this team. You look at her, and it doesn't look like she's a freshman out there. She really has been owning the midfield in a lineup that I believe has consistently changed the midfield. Like we said, Anna Poptic only playing 8 games and Alex Elliott now out. Kenna Stones is really becoming a staple for the Yellow Jacket midfield, which is important.
In some regard, when you're at this time of year, I mean, unless you're talking about the tournament when, someone hasn't played in a tournament game before, I mean, it's kind of a common saying, but I think it's fairly true. Nobody's really a freshman anymore. If you've played 15 games, you've got some experience under your belt. You've got some rhythm with your teammates, and you know what you're supposed to go out and do. It's just about going out and executing. And then come tournament time, it's learning how to deal with pressure and deal with your nerves. As Otterbein lines up the game's first corner.
That corner was taken by Holly Bernhold.
Juliana, I know the women's game is primarily played on the ground more than it is through the air. You're not going to see a lot of, consistent volleys with a header or, shots coming off the forehead. You just don't see it very often. But if I'm Otterbein, I'm looking at the way the free kicks are being taken, and I'm concerned because they're not really being put into good areas. They're low, they're flat, and they're not getting good shot opportunities out of a free kick. And that's the whole point of a set piece, is to be able to set yourself up for a good look. And the Cardinals right now, I mean, look, they're out shooting Baldwin Wallace rather significantly. BW technically doesn't have a shot on goal. They've only taken one all game, and it just came from stones 30 yards away from the net.
Right. When I was coming into college as a senior in high school, as a goalkeeper, they said it's really important. A strength of a goalkeeper for women's soccer is that you're good in the air, because many games are won in the air because that's special. Like you said, they don't play in the air. They usually play on the ground, and they try to find feet. It looks like Marissa Fabrizi's just entered the game for Jacqueline Brown. But going back to that, in the air, it is important that you need to capitalize on those opportunities, because that's not where the ball is primarily played. So if you are able to control that airspace, then you will have success. And neither team has really had that success in the air thus far. And I think if we're able to see some good set pieces connect with the heads of some of these players, that we'll see some goals.
Well, with Fabrizi coming on the field, Rachel Bender's gone from the far left side now to the near right side as an attacking forward. That's not uncommon. She often plays all three positions up front throughout the course of a game. Nice move there by Katie Exline, but Lauren Haynham was able to trust Josie Fenn to help her recover.
That one's played to Fabrizi on the far side. Rachel Bender open on the near side if the ball's able to find her. Jenny Burdick cracks one up top. Bender couldn't quite get there quick enough, but she did collide with Erin Gordon a little bit there. Coach Whitekin talked about the last game that we did, that they do move Rachel Bender from side to side because it causes the other team's defense to either shift and change their lineup in the back if they're man marking her, or it just causes a differentiation of who is going to mark her and how that defense is going to play. So they do it just to shake up that back line because Bender is so versatile.
Yeah, look, in a game that right now, even though Otterbein, I would argue, is outplaying BW, it's still scoreless. So throw a different look at the Cardinals and just see if maybe Rachel can get going on the near side, because so often this year they've just ridden her success. And if they can find a way to get her going, that's certainly going to improve BW's chances this afternoon.
It is scoreless with about 14 minutes left in the first half. Otterbein out shooting the Yellow Jackets, but neither able to capitalize. Kayla Webb looks for Bender. Holly Bernhold was able to knock that one out, though.
Yeah, she's done a really good job on Bender here so far this afternoon, just not letting her get in space square with the goal.
And it looks like, I might be mistaken, but I think that the Cardinals did move they switched their right and left backs. So Bernhold is now playing on the near side, defending Rachel Bender. As she gets that cross off, Fabrizi trying to control it. It will be a Yellow Jacket throw-in on the far side.
Yeah, Bernhold she's one of their stronger defenders, but I think the reason they like her on Bender is her speed. Rachel can be so devastating at times just because she can outrun the defense.
Rachel gets a shot off, but it goes just over the goal.
And look, Bender's going to have opportunities where she just creates shots like that one. Was it a high percentage look? No. But she's good enough that she can get those kind of looks out. Then at least make you think about it. If you're Otterbein, you kind of deal with it. But you certainly just try to minimize the chances where she has the ability to just get off and run in space.
Lauren Hanum plays that one up to Courtney Schutz, whose first touch unfortunately gave it away.
And that's been one of Courtney Schutz's bugaboos all year. Every time the ball gets played forward to her, she seems to have kind of a heavy foot and just has trouble keeping the ball tight.
A shot and a save by Emma Bruno, shot by Katie Exline, the substitution, and that might have been the best look all game.
Well, it's a save of the match. I mean, you want to talk about a heck of an effort. Emma Bruno, full extension on the dive. Punches away. Guaranteed goal for Otterbein.
Otterbein's best look of the game, and the Yellow Jackets' best defensive play of the game right there. Nearing the end of the first half with 11 minutes left, still scoreless. The Cardinals come up with it. To Exline. And that ball was played out wide. But Jenny Burdick was able to come up with it. That one's kicked far upfield. Miller's able to control it and place it back to their goalkeeper.
I think that's one of the reasons why Corey Miller is so valuable up front. Her ability to control the ball, pretty much going at any speed. That's, I think, one of her best attributes.
Yeah, Miller has a great touch on the ball, no doubt. Probably one of the best on the team. Burdick swings and misses, but it is rolled into the box for Emma Bruno.
Well, there's 10 minutes to go in this first half, and it hasn't been an ugly first half for BW, but it has not been a offensively productive first half. Baldwin Wallace seems like they're just kind of reacting to what Otterbein is throwing at them. It won't be long here before they're going to have to start taking some opportunities here into their own hands.
But Miller was able to force her out, and it'll be a Cardinal throw-in and a Cardinal substitution. Coming into the game for Otterbein, Rachel Steyer.
Again, as a corner kick gets lined up. That can't happen. I mean, the ball just kind of scoots through into a wide open space between four defenders, and thankfully it was deflected out of bounds, but if Jim Moykin had any hair to pull out, I'm sure he would. That you can't give up balls that open in the box.
Steyer takes the corner. Couldn't quite find anyone. Fabrizi has the ball. Running upfield. See if she'll cut in or she plays it back to Schutz. And it goes out for a Yellow Jacket throw-in.
I know the natural reaction is to dribble the ball up the sideline, go into the corner, and then cross it in. I really get frustrated with that because the ball is never really played up in the air. Right? That idea makes a lot of sense if you're going to play the ball with some loft on it into the middle. But given the nature of how often these teams, and on both sides, how both teams cross it low, you're never going to connect on a 20 or 30 yard pass with a teammate through 3 or 4 defenders that are all of a sudden in their back line. It's not going to happen. And if it does, it's a complete and total defensive breakdown. I would much rather see the Yellow Jackets, who are very good in their fast break because they've got some speed. I'd rather see them drive up the middle of the field and maybe lay it off to somebody who's driving up halfway to the right or the left side of the box. I mean, just rather than take the ball into the corner, and it's kind of like on a basketball court. The coach will, never tell you, hey, go dribble it in the corner. It's more something you try to do when you're killing time or if you're going to play a lofted ball in. I don't think that's an effective way for these two teams to attack.
Absolutely. I think if they're able to cut in earlier, it'd be much more effective. But it looks like a foul was called on BW, and Alyssa Spencer will take a free kick from about 30 yards out, 35 yards out. 3 in the wall for BW. It was a good look. It was on goal, but it wasn't anything special. Easy for Bruno to come up with.
Well, I definitely agree with that. It was not a particularly difficult play for Bruno, but from an Otterbein perspective, that was their best free kick and best set piece in general of the game so far, whether it was as a corner or taken somewhere in the middle of the field. So hopefully the Cardinals are feeling like they can build on that. 6 minutes to go in this first half, and the Yellow Jackets are probably not content with where the game is, but happy that they're not trailing at home here to the Cardinals.
And that's a foul on Katie Exline, given to Anna Poptic. And I think we may have missed her sister, Kenna Poptic, is now playing that center back, left center back position. Looks like she came in for Jenny Burdick. So Kenna Poptic now joins the defense with about 5 minutes to go in the first half. Driven low and hard, but couldn't really find anyone by Lauren Hainum. A little nudge. Foul called on Otterbein. A little unusual to see Kenna Poptic back on defense, as she typically plays that midfield role.
Well, while I agree with you, I think Jim Woitkin is recognizing that his defense is, they haven't broken yet, but boy, they've bent awfully hard. And he's trying to do anything he can come up with to help solidify that back line, and he thinks Kenna can maybe strengthen them a little bit.
Good ball played by the other Kenna. Stones out to Marissa Fabrizi. Like you said, though, that ball was crossed on the ground and couldn't find anyone. One's popped out back to the feet of Kayla Webb. Tries to control it. Couldn't quite get there. And boy, I think the Yellow Jackets are having a hard time of getting their feet on the ball as Maya Kelly sprints upfield into the hands of Emma Bruno. And that was unfortunate on Kelly's part, but that could have been dangerous and detrimental for the Yellow Jackets, who she was able to control it and get a shot. Great touch by Escaline on the far side. About 3 minutes left to play in the first half. Both teams with no goals. Cardinals in their offensive third. Out of bounds for a goal kick. And it looks like the Yellow Jackets will make one more substitution. In for the Yellow Jackets is Olivia Muldoon, taking out Courtney Schutz. Emma Bruno switches switches the side in which she takes her free kick, or I'm sorry, her goal kick. Marissa Fabrizi couldn't quite get there. Boy, the Yellow Jackets look a tad unorganized here.
Yeah, unorganized, and the pace is kind of frantic. I mean, I like a high energy, high tempo game, but you got to do it with some authority. Ball's being kicked all over the place with no real target in mind. You're never going to find a goal when you're playing like that. It almost feels like they're just trying to race into halftime here and hang on to a tie game as opposed to try and put something together.
That's exactly what it feels like. It feels like the Yellow Jackets are almost giving up on scoring goals, and they're just going to knock the ball out and not let Otterbein get behind them. As I think that was an attempted shot by Annie Mosca. Just about a minute left here in the first half. I think, like you said, the Yellow Jackets just trying to get out of this without giving up any goals right now. Mosca with the ball. Shot picked up by Emma Bruno, but none of the Yellow Jacket defenders really stepped to her. That shot should not be happening. Muldoon sends one far across the field as Rachel Bender attempts to save it. Just couldn't keep it in bounds. Hainham sends that one far out of bounds. Looks like that'll be the conclusion of the first half here at George Finney. Both teams scoreless. But I would say that Otterbein is most definitely outplaying the Yellow Jackets on all fronts. Brendan, what's your take?
Yeah, there's no question. I mean, I think BW is lucky right now to be in a 0-0 game. And I think they need to kind of get together and say, look, this is our last regular season home game. How do we want to go out? What kind of message do we want to send? And with what kind of tempo and style do we want to play? You know, I know the seniors have a lot of pride in their ability, and right now they just aren't showing it. Been disorganized defensively, given Otterbein way too many good looks, and passes without a whole lot of of idea behind them. I mean, or certainly if they have, I mean, there hasn't been.
And welcome back to our coverage of BW Women's Soccer as they host the Otterbein Cardinals. Today, we apologize for some technical difficulties getting started here in the second half. But I'm Juliana Rubin alongside Brendan Gulick. And we are underway here in the second half. Only about 5 minutes played so far. Still scoreless here with about 40 minutes left to go in regular time. We talked about the first half a little bit and what the teams needed to do coming out in the second half. Brendan, did you just want to touch upon what you think each team's key to the game is?
Well, I think in the second half, I mean, look, if you're BW, the first 5 minutes have been a little bit better, just in that they seem like they've come out with better energy. The referee signals play on. But I would like to see, Kenna Stones, who had a really, I think it's probably fair to say, the only Yellow Jacket I thought that played a good first half. I'd like to see her try and step up and maybe force the action a little bit. Rachel Bender is doing that here in the first 5 minutes of the second half. But I kind of touched on it before the break, and I certainly didn't mean to rant about it. It was just frustrating to see, a first half that felt like the same old thing. I mean, a lack of chances, a lack of passes that had any real authority behind them. And quite frankly, the Jackets got lucky that they hadn't given up a goal in the first half. So I hope Emma Bruno continues to play well. They're going to need her to do that, but I'd like to see a little bit more, from the offensive side. I want to see some more authority. Maybe that's just the best way to say it. And from Otterbein's perspective, their story is just about missed chances because they've had some looks and they just haven't put them home. This is a great sequence.
Great shot by Rachel Bender. Unfortunately, Jacqueline Brown couldn't get a touch on it. She was there, maybe off by just a step, but that was a great look.
I'm interested in your perspective. You say great shot by Bender. Do you think Bender was shooting that, or do you think she was trying to cross it? Because from my perspective, I think she was trying to cross that to Brown, who was kind of coming down on the back post.
Yeah, I think it was a cross. I think that Brown unfortunately couldn't get there. I think it was a little bit closer to the goal than it probably should have been, but I think it was a good look nonetheless, and the Yellow Jackets have earned themselves a free kick.
Yeah, and Bender's really good with her left foot. Not a surprise to see her kind of take that look. But maybe next time she'll take it herself, even though it was nearly a goal on the backside. That was easily their best setup of the game. It was a great feed into the middle and then came back out from Poptic to Bender. More of that. That's what we want to see.
Yes, absolutely.
If nothing else, hopefully that just gets her confidence going. Feeling like, yeah, okay, we're capable of kind of stringing this together.
Yeah, I think that they need a little, like you said, they need a little boost of confidence and some energy. I think they've come out a little bit stronger this half with a raise in that energy that we've seen just from their chances thus far. But yeah, I think that if they have that confidence and they have that energy, that hopefully they'll have some good looks. I'd like to see, like you said, Kenna Stone step up to the plate. Rachel Bender perhaps could have had that one on her own. But nonetheless, definitely an improvement from the first half. I think the Cardinals definitely need to continue to hold down that back line and press up top. Haley Guerra had some great chances in the first half, as well as their substitution. X-Klein, she had some great opportunities. Definitely the best shot of the game on the Cardinals side, as Poptic runs this one down the field and couldn't quite keep it in bounds, as it'll go out for a Cardinal throw-in deep in their defensive third.
Well, it's a must-win game for both teams this afternoon going into the final week of the regular season in OAC play next week. Only 3 games entering today left on the schedule. And the Yellow Jackets will have to play on the road at the top 2 teams in the conference. In Ohio Northern, who's unbeaten in the OAC, and at Capital, who's only had 1 conference setback. Those are going to be tough games. Not saying that they aren't winnable games, but the Yellow Jackets really need to get that 4th win today. I beg your pardon, the 5th win in conference play today.
The Yellow Jackets above the Cardinals by just 1 slot in the overall ranking in the OAC, as Guerra takes this one and battles Josie Fenn on the near side.
I want to correct what I just said. I thought that came out awkwardly. They are 3-2-1 in the conference entering today. For whatever reason, when you go on the OAC's website, it has them listed at 4-2-1, which isn't correct, but would love the foreshadowing if that were true. But the Yellow Jackets are looking for their 4th win in the OAC this afternoon.
Schutz was looking for Jacqueline Brown there. Couldn't quite come up with it. Like you said, both teams need a win, especially if they want to advance in the OAC play. Both teams have had some setbacks. Both down. The Yellow Jackets down Alex Elliott after an ACL tear. And the Otterbein Cardinals down their top goal scorer, Bella Shively, after, I believe, a similar knee injury.
This has been a far better half so far in the first 10 minutes from BW. Most of the game in the last 10 minutes has been played on the left half of the field from your viewing perspective, which means BW's not only just possessed the ball, but they've sort of done so by stringing together passes. And yeah, okay, fine, they've taken some long runs, but really haven't seen too much from Otterbein here in the second half offensively. It's time for BW to try and step on their throat a little bit.
I think we've seen, like we said, we've seen more energy, but I think we've seen more hunger to actually score and get the result that they need from the Yellow Jackets so far this second half. We've been playing for about 10 minutes in the second half, still scoreless. Yellow Jackets dominating play thus far in this half. Rachel Bender definitely more involved so far, it would appear, as she tries to control this one from the air. Battling with Hot on the near sideline. Good combination between the Yellow Jackets. As Rachel Bender tried to take a shot, Kenna Stones looked like she was going to wind up and take one.
It almost looked to me like she tried to kind of guide that one.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe she next time will attack the ball a little bit more. But I think the way she hit that with the side of her foot, it looked like she was trying to be a little too precise.
It's just a little awkward.
Yeah, rather than just taking a big crack. And look, she's got a super strong leg. But I really like what I see so far here this half.
That one was picked up by Erin Gordon, who's definitely been tested more this half than the entire first half. The ref signals play on the far side. Knocked out of bounds, though, for a Yellow Jacket throw-in to be taken by Lauren Hainham. It's a beautiful day here at George Finnie Stadium. In not typical October day, about 70 degrees. Senior day here for the Yellow Jackets. 7 seniors on the team this year. All of them started, many of them still playing as they seek the win for today. Deflected off Hot on the far side for a Yellow Jacket goal kick. As Emma Bruno will yet again switch the field. The Cardinals gain control of it in the midfield, though Hainham is battling for it. Looks like a foul was called, bringing it back to the midfield from perhaps that battle between Alyssa Spencer and Lauren Hainham.
Yeah, the referee wanted to make sure that he let Otterbein run the play out before he would call the foul, because if they would have had the advantage, then no reason to blow the whistle. Another goal kick coming. Otterbein responding pretty well here over the last few minutes after this early second half onslaught from Baldwin Wallace. But we are still scoreless.
This ball rolls all the way back to Erin Gordon, who is out of her box. Looks like that one was indeed out of bounds for a Yellow Jacket throw-in. And the Yellow Jackets will make their first substitution of the second half, bringing on Marissa Fabrizi for the senior Jacqueline Brown. Rachel Bender and Courtney Schutz couldn't quite connect there. And Corey Miller is chasing it back as she plays it to Josie Fenn. Otterbein's pressing here, though. Spencer tried to poke that one through, but Miller picked that one up pretty easily.
That was a great play by Courtney Schutz.
Marissa Fabrizi wide open on the far side. Excellent defending by Otterbein's Regina Severance.
I was critical of Courtney Schutz early in the game because she was too frequently finding the ball at her feet on a pass, and it was ricocheting off of her, and she was losing possession. So I should definitely give her credit because that was the best control she's had all afternoon. She deadened the ball right in front of her. She turned and delivered a great cross up the field, and Fabrizi just couldn't quite catch it. But that's what Schutz is capable of. They just need that from her with more consistency.
Yeah, that was a great sequence. And Marissa Fabrizi on the far side is working, trying to win that back against Severance. There's great tactical defending as Severance led the ball out of bounds, shielding it. Kayla Webb, though, picked it up now to Rachel Bender. Standing up Bernhold. Gets across. And that is just unfortunate. Right to the hands of Erin Gordon.
And
it looks like
Courtney Schutz is holding her, holding either her nose or her upper lip. I think maybe she kind of got popped. Might be dealing with some blood.
Walking off the field.
Yeah, the training staff's going to come over and try and take care of her. Meanwhile, Olivia Muldoon looks like she'll check in. It's disappointing for Schutz because, again, I think she was really starting to get to a point here where she was more comfortable. Hopefully it's just a quick fix, if you will.
Yeah, and that was really probably their best look of the game. It seems each chance they get, the Yellow Jackets are improving. And that's really just quite unfortunate that they couldn't poke it behind Erin Gordon. Instead, they hit it right to her. Fabrizi plays that off to Poptic, who puts it just over the goal.
Wow, Poptic with some great creativity, hoping to maybe chip the keeper. Didn't quite work out the way that she wanted, but a great idea from distance.
An unlikely shot. It looked like she just lofted one up in the air, but boy, that came really close. If she was able to chip the keeper, that would have been nice. It looks like Otterbein just made some substitutions onto the field for Otterbein. Number 10, Katie Exline, as well as two others.
You know, I said going into halftime that BW needed to just wipe the slate clean and try to flip this game on its head a little bit. And I think they deserve credit for the way they've come out in the second half. It's a different effort. 17 minutes into the second half, and the Jackets, I don't want to say they look like a different team, but they are playing with a different level of energy. They're not complacent. They're not reacting to the game. They're creating chances. They're taking a more, a more authoritative role. And when you're playing against a team like Otterbein, who didn't lose a single game outside of the conference, I mean, Otterbein has only lost 3 games all year, and they're all inside the OAC. It's a good team, and you can't fall asleep against a team that's given up 12 goals in 14 games this season. I mean, they're flat out hard to score against.
Guerra with the cross. It looks like Spencer tried to finish that. I'm sorry, that was Priscilla Severance with the cross. And Spencer tried to finish it, but it was just wide, going for a Yellow Jacket goal kick. Those other two substitutions, by the way, Sydney Young and Maya Kelly for the Cardinals. Still scoreless here with about 27 minutes left in regular time. Both teams need to walk away with a win. And the ref calls that one back. Kenna Stones collided with quite a few of the Cardinals players on the far side. Olivia Muldoon couldn't quite hold on to that one in front of the Yellow Jacket bench. And it looks like Courtney Schutz is still receiving attention from the trainers on that far side. Yellow Jacket throw in to be taken by Lauren Hanum in front of her bench. Kenna Stones couldn't control it. And Severance plays it up for Eskline. A little trip in the box, and Josie Fenn is able to recover and knock it out, but it will be a corner kick for Otterbein. Looks like that will be taken by Guerra on the far side. I believe that will be their third corner kick of the game. Played in, Kenna Stones with a header for another Otterbein corner kick.
Little interested to see Emma Bruno playing so far back in the goal. She's kind of deep. I expected to maybe see her try and press up a little bit here.
Bernhold tried to knock that one in at first, and she's still battling for it as it's played upfield and recovered by Marissa Fabrizi to Rachel Bender. And that one was just kicked upfield, really. Emma Bruno, though, yeah, she was definitely farther back there. But remember, one of the things from when I was a keeper, it's a lot easier to go forwards than backwards.
Sure.
And it looks like Cassandra Wakeman has been subbed in for Kenna Stones. Wakeman coming off a concussion. I believe this might be one of her first times back. X-Line looked for Maya Kelly there. She might have gotten her. And Kelly with the shot. Wide. Didn't really cause Emma Bruno to have to do anything there.
No, poor touch from Kelly. That's one that she's really going to want back. The Otterbein Cardinals, as this game slips closer to the 70-minute mark, they're still scoreless, and there are only a couple of opportunities that Otterbein is probably focused on, wishing that they could have converted better. That's definitely one of them.
Corey Miller battling with Severance there, and Severance wins as she takes it to the near corner. Just knocked out by Corey Miller, though, for another corner kick. That one was played quick and short to Bernhold, who tried to get the cross in on the ground, recovered by Fabrizi and sent upfield. Muldoon chasing after it on a sprint. And that was a shot by Severance.
I think BW got away with one there. That was pretty clearly deflected out by a Yellow Jacket, but they're going to call a goal kick either way.
Yeah, it looked like that might have hit an off Cass Wakeman. But nonetheless, the Yellow Jackets receive a goal kick from it, as the ball is now at the feet of Fabrizi. And she knocks that one just a little too far in front of her. Spencer wide open. Plays it up to Severance. Maya Kelly sprinting past Kenna Poptic. Cuts in with the cross. Hard cross looks like deflected off Lauren Hannum, who is slowly standing up from that. Looks to be in a little bit of pain, but nonetheless, Severance with the ball. Picked up by Emma Bruno, who was just knocked pretty hard by Guerra there. Definitely becoming a more physical game as we near closer to the 90-minute mark, with about 20 minutes left to play in the game.
Meanwhile, Courtney Schutz still on the far sideline. Jackets are hoping that she can come back here shortly. She was dealing with what appeared to be a bloody nose or a bloody upper lip after getting bumped in a collision in the box.
Rachel Bender to Marissa Fabrizi in the middle. She looks to switch it to Olivia Muldoon, who is wide open on the far side.
Good defensive recovery by Cassidy Nicole. She was the last Cardinal back, but really sprinting back and trying to strengthen that back line. That was one of the first times we've actually seen an aerial played from the corner. Corey Miller is subbed off here and replaced out by BW's freshman midfielder, Caitlin McGuire. McGuire she's listed as a midfielder, but frequently been a defender for the Yellow Jackets, and here she's probably just sparing Miller for a short bit before Miller would return toward the end of the game.
It looks like the Cardinals made a substitution as well. Hott returning to the field for Severance. And Hott already has the ball at her feet.
Yeah, and she's going to test Caitlin McGuire right away after just checking in. McGuire's first action of the afternoon.
X-Klein with the ball at her feet. McGuire finally stepped up and challenged her. But it looks like that could have been a goal there. She was wide open. It looks like that might have been Annie Mosca on that far side.
A couple of scoring updates from around the conference. Wilmington and Mount Union with just over 20 minutes to go. They're tied at 1. Marietta and Heidelberg are tied at 2. And in one of the most lopsided games of the year, Ohio Northern is blowing out Muskingum 8-0. They still have 20 minutes left in Ada. Capitals at John Carroll later this afternoon. Ohio Northern, the best team in the conference, Muskingum the worst. And that score is pretty much all you need to know.
Anna Poptic knocks that one wide for Olivia Muldoon. Taking on Regina Severance on that far side. A little bit of ping pong going on in the Yellow Jacket offensive third. And finally, Spencer knocks that one up to Josie Fenn, who then returns it. Kenna Poptic looking for someone up top, but just a little too much and out of reach for Bender and Fabrizi. Both benches on their feet. In the 73rd minute here, George Finnie still scoreless as the Yellow Jackets host the Otterbein Cardinals on Senior Day. And Caitlin McGuire was able to shield that one out of bounds, and X-Line thought it was their ball, but McGuire quickly picks that one up. Maya Kelly at the top of the 18. Tried to get around Hainum, but Hainum stood up well. Josie Fenn's able to knock that one up to Fabrizi to clear it out of BW's defensive third. Annie Mosca with the ball, no one in front of her. Diving save by Emma Bruno to recover that one.
Bruno hasn't been tested too many times in this second half, but she comes up with a nice stop there. Still scoreless through 75 minutes.
Looks like Rachel Bender could have been off to the races, but that one is quickly called back for a foul that Bernhold will take a free kick for. Sydney Young with the ball at her feet in the midfield. Lauren Hannum tried to clear that one up, but it was picked up by the Cardinals. Hott played that to Spencer. Hott with the ball at her feet, taking on Josie Fenn. What moves from Hott? That little step over there. As X-Line's easily able to get across. Perhaps they'll mark that one as a shot because it was easily picked up by Emma Bruno.
Yeah, the frustrating thing is that we've seen about 6 times now here in this second half alone that same move. Going to the outside, whoever the defender is, in this case it was McGuire, overcommitting and then having it cut back to the inside and creating a wide open look. As Fabrizi checks out, replaced out there by Kenna Stones.
It looks like they might have just bumped Anna Popdick up to center mid as Kenna Stones returns to her natural fit in the midfield. So now our front line for the Yellow Jackets is Bender, Popdick, Muldoon.
Well, Jenny Burdick waiting to check back in too. She's been out for at least the last 40 minutes, and she came out maybe longer when she was subbed off in the first half. Senior center back. And she comes in here for Kenna Popdick. The next line also checks out. For Yellow Jacket fans, I think that's probably a small sigh of relief. I think she's been one of their more electrifying players, Priscilla Severance, back out there. Hainum, Burdick, Fenn, and McGuire, the back line. The Yellow Jackets, I mean, look, they need to score here, but
good take by Cass Wakeman.
Absolutely can't give up a goal. Although a tie for Otterbein on the road would give them a tiebreaker. If 2 teams come down into a tie scenario, the tiebreaker, if it's not a win or a loss, it goes to the team that drew away from home.
I did not know that. So Rachel Bender tries to get this one out of the air, but Erin Gordon snatches it away. We're seeing a little burst of energy from Rachel Bender.
Well, it's got to come from somewhere. It was a great start to the second half from BW, but the last 15 to 20 minutes have looked a whole lot more like the first 45, and that was not a good one for BW.
That'll be a corner kick for the Cardinals. Scoreless, soon entering the 80th minute. And it will be Hott who takes the kick. It's a good ball. Neither team could get behind it.
Wow, the Cardinals just sitting on the doorstep.
That was probably, I think, 3 different players there just trying to knock that one in between Cassidy, Nicole, and Severance, and a few others, all getting touches, just trying to get it into the net. Looks like Courtney Schutz just returned to the field for the Yellow Jackets, sending Corey Miller back to that left side, and Caitlin McGuire out of the game. Miller, and I believe Priscilla Severance, both down on the field. Miller slowly getting up, but both teams' training staff will walk onto the field.
Yeah, it was incidental contact, but they knocked heads pretty good.
Both teams returning, well, mainly Otterbein returning to their bench for some water as Rachel Bender picks them up from the near side of the field. With the clock stopped at 10:27, both teams are continuing to battle. And we'll see if either of them is able to get on the board. And Priscilla Severance is finally up, and she is walking off the field with her training staff. Miller also having to leave the field because the training staff came on. And we'll see if both women are okay. Looks like it will be a drop ball. Rachel Bender is able to win it and play it up to Courtney Schutz. Nice touch to Kenna Stones. Unfortunately, couldn't get it back to Schutz. Mosca on the far side for Otterbein. Kayla Webb for the Yellow Jackets. Rachel Bender able to block an attempted shot from Bernhold from far out. Brendan, both teams fighting pretty hard here, nearing down to the end of the game. What do you think is going to be the determining factor whether which team walks away with a win?
I think it comes down to who wants it more. I mean, there's been times where BW has played like they really want it here in the second half. They just didn't score, But, I mean, looking up at the clock here, it's been a good 25 minutes since they've really put much together offensively. They've kind of regressed after a great start to the second half. I think they've let Otterbein bully them a little bit. You know, I'm not an advocate of dirty play, but, you know, some physicality, some leadership. Force Otterbein off the ball, get physical, and push someone away and let them know, hey, this is our field, this is our house. We're not going to let you just kind of run it down our throats here. I think there's a little too much finesse and not enough real muscle right now. And at times, they've shown the ability to do that. Sometimes you have to play that mental game. And right now, I think BW is not mentally very strong.
No, Otterbein has been out shooting the Yellow Jackets 14-5 this game. That one was quickly played up for Sydney Young. Knocked away by Burdick to Marissa Fabrizi, who has returned to the field, taking off Anna Poptic. Jenny Burdick trying to get back to stop Isabel Sentel from getting that cross off. Then it will be a Yellow Jacket throw-in. Kenna Stones boots that one upfield. Shoots is chasing it, but it will be controlled by Katie Best, who played it back to Erin Gordon. Fabrizi to Bender. Can Bender get a shot off? And that one was knocked away by Cassidy Nicole.
She waited too long. Bender had a window, and I don't know if she just didn't feel comfortable. She took too long to gather. And that's disappointing because Bender really, I thought, had a good look.
Just over 6 minutes left to play in regular time.
And just to back up what I was saying a couple of minutes ago, that's exactly what I wanted to see. Somebody like Bender shielding off a defender, using her body to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to make you work around me. And she created a window for herself. And again, I don't know if she just didn't feel comfortable with the look or if she didn't feel she was gathered the right way. But she took one dribble too many, and that allowed the defense to close down on her. She's got to be able to let that one fire quickly.
Absolutely. With just over 5 minutes left in play, if you're in front of the goal like that, you need to just let it go. It looks like Anna Poptic returned to the field for Cass Wakeman. That one's bouncing. It will be out of bounds.
Yeah, it's a corner kick. That's a mistake by Gordon. She needed to get to that ball. And now the Jackets have a chance to set up a play in the corner. Courtney Schutz will take it.
Shoots in for Breezy on the ball. Breezy will run in. And that was poorly executed by Schutz. But it will be another Yellow Jacket corner kick. Perhaps this time they can get a better look on goal. Both teams' benches on their feet. A better cross. Kenna Stones to Miller. Anna Poptic's able to touch it out to Courtney Schutz on the far side, who will look to get across, but will be deflected for another Yellow Jacket corner kick. And these are opportunities that they really need to capitalize on, Brendan. With 4 minutes left in the game, having consecutive corner kicks. That's a good ball. Guerra tried to clear that one out, but Poptic knocks that one just over the net for an Otterbein goal kick.
Now you can really feel the tension inside Finnie Stadium with under 4 minutes to go. Neither team has played particularly well today, but both are trying to gut out a win.
Hanum tried to clear that one up, and it hit the hands of Guerra, though she refutes that. It will be a free kick taken by Lauren Hanum, just at midfield.
How about another one?
Another Yellow Jacket corner kick.
Well, the thing here is Courtney Schutz keeps taking them from that far side, and with her right leg, she's going to swing the ball away from the goal. Might be more convenient for her if she were kicking from the other corner and could curl it in toward the net. Just under 3 minutes to go. One of these BW has to take advantage of. Bender was there.
Just couldn't quite aim that one towards the goal. She knocked that one just wide. About 2.5 minutes left in play in regular time, but the game will not end in a tie. NCAA rules have them play a 10-minute period of overtime, and after that they're still tied. They will play a second period of 10-minute overtime. At that point in time, if neither team has scored, it will end in a tie.
Not really sure what the holdup is here. Otterbein's using valuable seconds. That's a poor touch. And the Yellow Jackets will have a free kick with 1.5 minutes to go.
Lauren Hanum behind the ball. Quickly takes it. Looking for Bender. Couldn't quite get it. It's popped up. Bender is sprinting after it though. Cross in, Anna Poptic. Wide. Man, the Yellow Jackets have certainly had their chances these past 5 minutes that they could have capitalized on. And unfortunately, they were unable to get it done. Less than a minute to play. Handball on the far side. The Yellow Jackets will have another free kick to be taken by Lauren Hanum.
25 seconds to go.
Great ball. Knocked away though. And it looks like that will be the end of regular time. So at the end of 90, Yellow Jackets 0, Cardinals 0. The teams will take a short break before they enter a 10-minute period of overtime. And we'll leave you for these next few minutes, and we will return at the first period of overtime. Welcome back to our continued coverage of BW Yellow Jackets women's soccer as they host the Otterbein Cardinals on their senior day today here at George Finnie Stadium. I'm Juliana Rubin alongside Brendan Gulick. In case you missed any of the action at the end of 90 minutes, both teams still scoreless, so we are entering our first period of overtime. Brendan, if you could summarize the game on both sides briefly, what do you think has been the most, I guess, most exciting part and the most upsetting part, the downfall of the game so far?
I'm going to have to think about the exciting part. It's been a frustrating game for both teams. Frustrating in the sense that for much of the game, BW hasn't created much at all. And the chances they had, couldn't put home. Good effort there by Maya Kelly running after it. You know, they had 4 corner kicks in the last 4 minutes of regulation and only got 1 shot out of those 4 corner kicks. You know, that as a player and as a coach really leaves you shaking your head. I thought BW played a poor first half. I thought they played a really, really good first 10 to 15 minutes of the second half, but then they kind of regressed a little bit. And let Otterbein really take control of the game again. And I don't think it's that Otterbein is running away with it, but they really haven't been challenged a lot. And this Cardinals team, you know, to BW's credit, they haven't totally folded. It's not like they're playing scared, and it's not like Otterbein's just come away with, you know, goal after goal. I think Emma Bruno right now is a player of the game. She's kept them in it. But the fact is, BW's had a chance to make a statement this afternoon, and in a lot of ways, they haven't. Or maybe I should say the statement is that, you know, they're not really proving to kind of stand the ground that they had hoped they could in their final home regular season game. And I know they want to send the senior class out with a win. But this is it's been a frustrating game for both teams, both in terms of missed opportunities and in just a lack of execution. We'll see if that continues to define the game in overtime or if someone's going to step up and make a big play.
Alyssa Spencer with the ball on the far side trying to get a cross off, but it just deflected off some of the players, but she got it back as they take a crack at the goal, but just over. Just a reminder, they will play 1 period of overtime for 10 minutes, and it is golden goal, so if either team scores first, the game is over. If after the 10 minutes, though, they are still tied, they will take a short break and play a second 10-minute period of overtime. And if they are still tied after that, they will unfortunately end in a tie. Like we said earlier, both teams need to walk away with a win here. It looks right now as though Otterbein is challenging for that goal a little bit more than the Yellow Jackets.
Yeah, major playoff implications at stake today with the OAC tournament looming in just about a week and a half. Right now, both teams would be entering the day, but they both have their back against the wall and probably need to win 2 of the last 3 games of the year to solidify a spot in the tournament if they want to continue to control their own destiny.
Molly Bernhold to take the corner kick for Otterbein. That one was low and near the front post. Bernhold tried to get that one, but she just knocked it out of bounds, so it'll roll out for a Yellow Jacket corner kick. Already just 6.5 minutes left to play here in this first overtime period. A little bit of ping pong going on right now, but Kenna Stones will walk away with it thanks to her fancy footwork.
One of 2 games, by the way, that's in overtime at the moment. Marietta and Heidelberg are tied at 2 out in Tiffin. Ohio Northern beat Muskingum this afternoon 8-1. So another win for the conference leading Polar Bears. And Mount Union topped Wilmington 2-1, helping the Purple Raiders case for an OAC tournament berth.
Rachel Bender with the ball at her feet. She crosses that one over the top. No one really could get there, though. Bender looks a little frustrating moving her hands when she was trying to find somewhere to hit it. She walks away with her head down a little bit. But Corey Miller was able to get a header on that one from behind Maya Kelly. It will be a Cardinals throw-in on the far side in front of the Yellow Jacket bench. Courtney shoots with the ball. Alyssa Spencer battling for it. Knocks it though to Marissa Fabrizi, who's able to play it up to Anna Poptic, who can get a touch around Gordon and easily into the goal. The Yellow Jackets win. That will conclude the game here at George Finnie Stadium as the Yellow Jackets defeat the Otterbein Cardinals 1-0 in the 5th minute of overtime. Anna Poptic with the goal. And what a fitting way to go out. Regular season, last home game, senior, started all 4 years, captain of the team. Happy for her.
It's awesome, and it certainly feels good. The Yellow Jackets have a chance to walk off the field with a win. The Otterbein Cardinals standing around looking and feeling a little snake bitten. They outplayed BW most of the afternoon, but sometimes that's the way the game works. And Baldwin Wallace wins 1-0 in a game that the Jackets really needed to have. Truth be told, if you asked me which team needed it a little more, probably Otterbein, because they were a half a game back in the standings. The Cardinals still have a couple of big opportunities in front of them with 2 games left to finish the year at home against Marietta and Mount Union. They can still qualify for postseason play, but now they are very much with their back against the wall. And, you know, look, the Yellow Jackets, part of the reason why they needed today's win so badly was because of who they're playing in the next 2 games. Capital and Ohio Northern are the real deal. And it's going to be a really big challenge to go on the road, either to Bernlohr Stadium down in Bexley or out to Ada. Certainly not saying that it's impossible, but a game today to give BW at worst 4 wins in the conference will probably be enough, I would think, to get them in the tournament. Not for sure. But given that they have a draw, the worst they can do is finish 4-4-1 in the OAC. Most years, that's enough to get you in the OAC tournament, even if you play a road game. So we'll see if that turns out to be the case. The Jackets obviously thrilled that their afternoon ends on a positive note. The seniors get to leave with a win here at home, and at least for the time being, all is well in Yellow Jacket country. So congratulations. Look, a game far from their best performance, but the sign of a good team, and I think most coaches will tell you this, the sign of a good team is a team that can find ways to win games when you don't play well. And even the team that wins the national championship at the end of the year is going to tell you that they had bad games, but they found ways to win. Today, BW found a way to gut out a win after a poor first half. The defense did their job, and they end up winning the game in overtime. So maybe a little momentum going on the road. Good for them.
Absolutely. A win, nonetheless, scored by Anna Poptic in overtime. The Yellow Jackets will be on the road this week against Capital and Ohio Northern. For Brendan Gulick, I'm Juliana Rubin. Thanks for listening, and have a great afternoon.